This is called the Tromox MC10, and it is unlike any electric bike I've ever seen. As you guys can see, the Tromox looks different than any other e-bike we've reviewed. It looks like it's straight out of the future. Let's figure out why it looks like this. Here's a variety of other small e-motos that you guys will be more familiar with and used to seeing on our channel. These bikes range from 130 pounds up to 170 pounds. Some of these bikes have been modified to be much faster and much more powerful than even this heavier, larger Tromox is. Is this bike as futuristic as it looks? Or at the end of this review, are we gonna be wishing for more? So first things first, we gotta figure out who this bike's for, and I think to do that, we gotta figure out its closest competitor, which in my opinion is a Surron Ultra Bee. This is a Surron Ultra Bee, or it used to be. It used to look like this. Now it doesn't. Now it has a lot of modifications that make it look different. But we're talking about this bike in stock form because it has the same price tag, $6,500, as the Tromox, has the same peak power rating of 12.5 kilowatts, and it has a very similar battery size. The Ultra Bee having a 74 volt 55 amp hour, the Tromox having dual batteries 72 volt that add up to 58 amp hours. So why did I bring out this big modified Ultra Bee? We have spent a bunch of time upgrading this bike, and we have added 45 pounds of weight to it with all the upgrades. That includes bigger battery, bigger wheels and tires, more power, an upgraded controller, so on and so forth. This bike, however, still weighs less than our stock Tromox MC10. So that's where I'm comparing a stock bike, but this bike, the one downside I've seen so far is it is heavy. Now, that's not a downside for everybody though. When you pull this bike out of the box, you can tell it's more of a moto. It feels robust, it has the big, heavy, powerful moto brakes, which nobody's gonna care that they're heavy because they work good. They have big, beefy rotors, we got big, beefy wheels, we have large tires, but some people are gonna like that. If you're a bigger, heavier rider, you're gonna appreciate that. That's enough talking for now. Let's go figure out how fast this bike goes. All right, guys, it is time for a top speed run. We got our GPS right here. We got our display, which is in kilometers an hour, because I don't know how to change it. Here we go, let's see what we can get. There's 90, 93. Okay, that's our limit right there. All right. All right, guys, let's see what we did for top speed. Again, we did 94 kilometers an hour on the display, which if you convert is 58.4 miles per hour. Now let's look at our GPS and see how accurate that speedometer actually is. We got 54.7 miles per hour. You guys can see that. So our display is reading higher than it should be by probably 6 kilometers an hour, 7 kilometers an hour, about 4 miles per hour. But we did about 1.5 to 2 miles an hour less than they quote at 56 miles per hour. So not too bad. We're kind of right in that realm. I was on a ever so slight downhill and I could tell that it peaked out. So it wasn't gonna go any faster. It basically hit its limit and that's what it was gonna stay at. Okay guys, it is drag race time for the Tromox MC10. Check out its competition. This is the Voro Motors Roadrunner 2. No, I'm just kidding, that's not the one. That one does have two-wheel drive though, so it is still fast and fun. But here is our real competitor, the brand new Talaria Sting MX5 Pro. There it is, reads on it. It's got some upgraded tires, got a few other modifications, but it is stock as far as power. Let's see if it can beat the Tromox MC10. As I previously mentioned, the Tromox has 12.5 kilowatts of peak power. The Talaria Sting MX5 has 13.4 kilowatts of peak power. So, they're both running 72 volts. Let's see how they compare. Also for reference, me and Reed weigh within 5 pounds of each other. You ready? I'm in sport mode. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he's got me. Oh man, we got a lawnmower in the way. He is blasting me. That's not even close. Oh, these brakes are nice. Woo. Okay, this bike is smooth and quiet though. All right, you got me.
Did I?
You blasted me. Especially off the start. This thing doesn't quite have the low down pep. It also has to get its a lot heavier weight moving.
Yeah.
Once we were probably doing 30, we were pretty dang similar for a long time, but that will go on to a higher top speed of 60 versus 54 on this. So it lost the drag race. It was kind of to be expected, to be honest, because that Talaria has more power and weighs a lot less than the Tromox does. However, they're very different bikes in different size categories and different price categories. This bike is quite a bit more expensive, but what do you get for the extra money? You get a much larger battery. That Talaria only has a 40 amp hour 72 volt battery. This has the 72 volt 58 amp hour, so that's gonna give you significantly more range. It also is beefy and robust, like we talked about. So you're gonna get those things in this larger, heavier duty style of e-moto. You also get a lot more tech. So let's get into that right now. Guys, it is time to announce our giveaway winner. Meet Owen.
Hi
Lucky
guys,
man.
This is like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so blown away right now, actually. Dude, that is so cool.
Right there.
Dude, that is so sick.
This is, you guys,
This is awesome.
honestly, thank you so much.
Well, it's all yours.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Oh my goodness. Dude.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
So you got,
I'm a,
yeah, Eco, Sport, and Hyper.
oh. That is like unhealthy fat. That's like insanely fast.
We're out here riding with the giveaway winner.
Dude, this is awesome.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
Race, here we go.
Okay, ready?
Ready, set, go.
Go.
Oh.
Oh my god! Dude! Let's go! This is the craziest feeling ever.
That bike's too fast.
This is amazing. Wow. This is awesome! Thank you guys
Wild.
again so much.
You're welcome.
This is incredible.
Use it and ride it a lot.
Oh my goodness, you don't even know. That was like scary fast in hyper.
These bikes are a lot faster than people think
Oh.
online. We haven't won.
I
I feel pretty cool giving away a bike though. That's cool too.
feel pretty cool winning a bike also, so
Yeah.
wow.
I would probably just roll it back at an angle and put a sleeping bag under the side and just...
This is incredible. This is actually awesome. It was the fastest bike I've ever ridden easily. It
Awesome.
was-
Well, we're stoked you're here. We're stoked you won that brand new bike. You guys need to stay tuned for more giveaways we have coming in the future. Please subscribe to our Instagram, our YouTube. Stay tuned for more. So we talked about how this bike looks really different and futuristic. Let's go over all these cool and unique features. First off, we have this cool key fob where you can lock and unlock the bike. There also is a spot right here, and it comes with NFC key cards that look like a credit card that you can also swipe to turn it on and off and unlock the bike. It even has an alarm system where if the bike is locked and you try to move it, it actually locks and sounds the alarm, and it even locks the motor to keep it from spinning. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this. Some people are gonna love it, I don't. And that's because the system is so sensitive in a lot of ways to where I've been in the garage and I've dropped like an empty cardboard box 5 feet away from it and the alarm goes off multiple times. But it's nice if you commute on your bike or if you leave it outside or if you have it locked up, it is going to help and deter a thief. So what else unique does this bike have? Let's start with this center display. We have our speed right here. Currently it's in kilometers an hour. I don't know how to switch it to miles. This is another setting. I don't know what it is. It's at 61 kilometers. Our total odometer is at 14 kilometers. We have our trip, which when you turn the bike on and go for a ride, that's gonna record there. When you turn it off, it's gonna go back to 0. And then here we have our dual battery percentages. These batteries need to be within 1% of each other or so to be able to function. You can run the bike on one single battery. You can't run it on 2 batteries that are of different charge level though. Then let's move on to, we got Eco and Sport mode on a switch right here. We have our ready button. To activate the bike, you have to pull both brakes, hit this, and it will go into ready. However, the kickstand has a sensor. That's why it's not going into ready mode right now. We'd have to fold up the kickstand for that. Over here, we have our low and high beam lights. You can also flash your high beam with a button right here. you have reverse. If you click that and do your throttle, it will go into reverse. And then here we have our horn, which is very loud. I'm not gonna do it. Let's take a look at this headlight. I haven't tested this at night yet. You do have the single or the high beam option, so that's nice. We do have the large moto calipers and brakes like we talked about earlier. They do work very well. They have good lever feel, good modulation. Tromox also has an app, which I have downloaded and attempted to connect the bike to, and then I realized that the app is actually not ready for the US market yet. So I hope that that comes in the future, because then you can connect to your bike, and I would assume change a lot of settings and things within that. All right, that's enough standing around and talking about this bike. Let's get out and ride it on a trail and see how it actually performs. All right, time for an off-road test on the Tromox. Let's see how she does. Now, we have about 15 kilometers on this bike already, which isn't, you know, a huge amount of time, but it's enough to start to get used to it. I want to just really quickly talk about how this bike feels on the street. The drivetrain is really smooth and quiet, and it feels really nice. I don't know what kind of setup they're running, because it's all kind of internal. I can't see whether it's like a belt or a gearbox or what it is, but it feels smooth and quiet and refined. The throttle feel isn't my favorite. It's got a big deadband, so if I stop here and show you guys, if I start twisting the throttle, it takes that long to even slowly start moving. Like, see how much that is? I have to let it go that far. So you're easily halfway into the throttle before the bike even starts moving, and then it just starts activating really slow after that too, which I think for a more beginner rider, you're not gonna hate that. You might like it and prefer it, because it just makes it feel docile. The other thing about this bike is you can definitely tell it's heavy, right? It's got the weight. The weight is there. Because the bike is so heavy, you can't just like flick it around and manhandle the bike to make up for the lack of how it feels. And I think this bike feels fine until you start to try to push it and ride harder. And I don't even think I'm riding hard right now, but it's not the most enjoyable feeling or handling bike. And I think to talk about the suspension too, is it feels, you know, big and beefy, and the very initial stroke feels supportive and plush to a certain extent. But as soon as you actually are hitting some bigger bumps, it just doesn't feel good at all. I just don't know exactly what this bike is designed for, because I know it's designed to be used as off-road, but Tromox historically has made mostly on-road bikes, and I just don't necessarily think that they've fully figured out the geometry and angles and the measurements and things to make a bike that handles off-road, because in all reality, I'm a little nervous pushing it this fast on this fairly smooth dirt road. It just is kind of sketch, man, because as soon as I hit some of these bumps, the suspension just can't cope. Like, I'm going as fast as I dare right now. Oh, and I gotta brake because these whoops would kill me. They can't do it. This bike just can't do it. I literally can't pull the front end up to kind of like wheelie it over these whoops like you do. It is too heavy, and the geometry is a little bit off, and there's not enough power to use the power to power wheelie it to make it over whoops like this when you're going fast. Obviously, I'm fighting the puddles now. All right, guys, I just gave the Tromox to Mark, who's a more beginner rider, and I want to see what he thinks of it.
All right, guys, it's Mark here. Now, obviously, I have not got the riding experience that Lance and Reed and Alex have, but I have spent some time on all the different bikes. Immediately I can feel the weight of the bike, and I'm not utilizing the full power of this bike just because I'm not an experienced enough rider to use it on these trails, but the weight makes me feel very secure, and it just soaks up a lot of these bumps and stuff that would usually make me more timid than I feel right now on this bigger, heavier bike. I mean, it's a good thing it's got these moto brakes, because it certainly needs them with how heavy this bike is, but I feel secure. I feel quite confident and comfortable on it. It is so wide right there where the seat is. I don't know if that's contributing to making me feel secure. Most bikes aren't this wide. Now, it's no secret that this is not Lance's favorite bike, and I don't know if it is mine either, but for a less experienced rider who's heavier, I'm a good 30 pounds heavier than Lance is, I really like the feel of this bike. It's a very controllable bike. Even though it's this heavy, I feel very in control. I haven't spent time on big motocross bikes, and so anytime I've gotten on our bigger bikes, I feel a little intimidated by the weight, but I don't notice it as much on this. Yeah, honestly guys, this bike is nothing to laugh at. It's got, I think Tromox has got some potential in the future, especially. You know, honestly, I'm quite impressed. It's obviously not what some of the other bikes you've ridden are, but I think this bike has a few things going for it. Being a newer, less experienced rider and having that extra weight makes me feel a lot more confident than I felt on other bikes just jumping on them for the first time. So I think for the less experienced rider, this is going to be a fun bike to try and have that extra weight. I feel like I just plow through stuff that I feel less confident on the smaller bikes.
You guys probably just heard some of my thoughts while I was riding it, and to be honest, it's not my favorite. Do I think it's a cool bike? Yes, and I think it has a lot of cool features and tech on it. I think it feels really smooth on the road. I think it has a good sized battery. I think it has enough power for the majority of riders out there to get out and have a lot of fun on. However, I don't think the bike was engineered well enough for hard off-road riding, and anybody that's ridden other bikes that handle better, you're probably not going to like it that much. And moving on to the next thing is, like, the dilemma that I'm having is the Surron Ultra Bee is so good for $6,500. I think Surron did a fantastic job, and that bike's already been out for a year and a half now. You can find used ones, you can find dealers with extra stock, and you can get them for less than $6,500. So that dilemma I just talked about, where the Surron Ultra Bee exists for the same price as this, then why would you ever buy this? And that's starting to ring more and more true the more I ride this, because, well, the problem is, the more and more I ride this, the less and less I like it. And that's a pretty big problem, because the more I ride it, the more I find things that I don't like and that are just not really up to snuff, you know? I'm struggling with it, guys. Drop a comment. I want to know what you guys think. And I still can't figure out how to turn it into miles per hour. Maybe I'm just dumb. Does anybody have this bike and know how to do that? I still definitely stand by how smooth the bike feels. It does feel really genuinely smooth on the drivetrain and quiet. One thing I also forgot to mention until the very end of the video is there's no regen on this bike. I haven't been able to find any regen. I don't believe there's any sensors in the brakes either to add it. So there's no regen. We're back in the garage after our ride, and I want to show you guys more about this dual battery setup. So I'm going to reach under here, and we have a key. So this is a 2-position key. If we pop it up, it releases the back of the seat, and you can pull off the entire seat. Then you can kind of see some of the brains of the operation in here. This is not the controller, but we do have some of the modules for the alarm system and some of the other things. This is a fuse panel, which is kind of cool, that you can actually just access your fuse panel. Super simple. Here we have our batteries. So now we have to reach back under, do the key, and pop it the other way, and then this bad boy lifts up. And here we have the 2 battery packs. So again, these are 72 volt, 29 amp hours each, and then you can pop this up, and you have to get that off of its hook, lift that up, individually unplug and remove each battery, just like that. So you can charge these individually or inside the bike at the same time. Batteries all back in. You can, of course, it turned off while I was doing that, so I have to unlock it now. Then we can put our seat back on, which pops in like this. You gotta line up the back, and you gotta give it a good firm press right here. That's the only spot we figured out. Then you can pop your key out and you can save this. So let's talk about this bike, guys. This video has been a little bit difficult to try to compare this bike and talk about it because it's so different from most of the other models that we've ridden. And it's hard because I think this is a good bike, but it's really hard for me to recommend this bike because of all the other models that are out on the market that in my opinion are better for the same price or less money. So Tromox, they make other street bikes, and this is their first bike that was more specifically designed for off-road and to be a dirt bike. And that's where I think it's their first time. And so I'm excited to see what happens when they come out with more bikes in the future, because I think the experience that they gain from this is going to help them. Now, what I want you guys to do in the comments is help Tromox out. I don't know if you guys realize, but when bike reviews are done on YouTube, the companies watch them and they don't only want to know what we think of the bike, they want to know what you viewers think of the bike. And so I want you guys to drop comments and explain what you like and what you don't like. Now, it's not helpful for you to just comment and say, I hate the bike. We want to know why you hate the bike. It's totally fine that you do. Just explain why you hate it, and if there's any features that you do like, throw those in too. That would really help Tromox out, and it helps all the companies of the bikes we review, so we appreciate you guys for doing that. If this is you guys' first time watching the Talaria Boys channel, we really appreciate you joining and sticking through all the way to the end. If you guys are looking to subscribe to our channel, I really recommend it because we just gave away an e-moto. Owen just picked up his brand new bike, and we'll be doing more giveaways coming very, very soon. And being subscribed is going to be the best way to find that new content and continue to help you learn about all these cool new e-motos that are coming out on the market. Thanks for watching, you guys. Catch you next video. See ya.